Hey guys, welcome to another one of our videos. Today we will probably be doing horror stories because I like horror stories and so do some of my friends. But first of all, I have some explaining to do for you guys. So some of the people in my group asked, why did I take away my face? That was mainly because my friend said it was cringy and it was kind of hard for me to edit my video. So I just decided to take away my face. I hope that's okay with you guys. Before we start, make sure to smack that subscribe button like your parents used to smack you when you forgot to do your dishes or I don't know. And don't forget to like as well. Okay, without further saying, let's just dive into our horror story today. So some of you guys know the fact that Japan is one of the most horror story countries, if it makes sense. So I will be telling you a story from Japan urban legends. So as some of you guys might know her already, she's called the Akiku doll. She is a little demon in the history, story, same thing, about a doll that haunts people. So the story starts off with a little girl and her parents going to a temple together as a family. But then something attracted the little girl's eye as she entered the temple. In the middle was a high, what is that word again? I forgot. But it's like a shelf with glass doors that can open. And then so in the very middle, there was a doll, a beautiful doll with silky black hair, and wore their traditional clothes. She was mesmerized by this, and she decided to ask her parents, "Hey, mommy, daddy, can I please have that doll? It's so pretty, and I don't even have a doll at home. So can I please take it home? Pretty please." And straight after she said that, a monk said with a deep voice, "Little girl, you wouldn't want to take that doll. Your life would be ruined because of it." The little girl looked crossly at the monk and just said, "Hey, who cares? It's my decision." The monk sighed and the parents were a bit angry, but of course said sure, all the best, since if they said no, their daughter would probably be crying on the floor or something like that. So the monks unwillingly gave the dolls to this happy family and greeted them non-politely out of the temple. Soon after, the girl and Akiku became best friends. They would be wherever and they would always be together. The girl would I'm dying. Anyways, and after that, does it always happen to you guys? Whenever it's at night and you're trying to tell a horror story, all the sounds, all the devil, all the things, spirits from your house come alive. Literally, did you guys hear that? It was so... now I'm scared. But anything for you guys. So, where was I? Now I remember. Okay, so before I continue the story, it was actually from another video. This is just not original, I don't know. I'm just retelling it for my video, so do not blame me for copywriting because I already said in this video. Anyways, after that, the family found it strange that slowly after, Akiku's hair started growing. They would cut it whenever they saw it was too long, but the parents always wanted to throw the doll away. The little girl unwillingly would scream and cry at them, so they had no choice but to leave her in the house. Not long after that, events started happening in the house more oftenly, like somebody in their family died or injured themselves really badly. And one night when the little girl decided to go to bed, she found that Akiku was wet all over and made a little damp spot by her pillow. Her meaning to Akiku. Yes, They slept together in one bed. The girl found it a bit suspicious, but ignored it because maybe she just, I don't know, wanted to take a bath. You know, little kids' imagination. Yeah. You guys know, you guys were all kids before. And anyways, after that, the next morning, the girl woke up looking at Okiku's pillow, but Okiku was gone. Silence. And in a few seconds, she heard her father screaming her name. What should her name be? Let's say Isabel. Isabel, come to the toilet right now. What did you do to your mother? Isabel was really mad that her father was accusing her of something that she never did. But then she was so shocked she couldn't speak when she came in the toilet. She found her mom fainted in the toilet and there was blood everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. And they apparently all came from her mother's brain. Okay, not brain. Brain doesn't have blood. Her mother's head. Yeah, something like that. And her father was raging. And that's when all of a sudden, Elizabeth or Ellie, or I forgot her name, all of a sudden remembered that her doll was wet yesterday. And her mother was showering yesterday, which meant Okiku could have gone to the toilet. She was beginning to feel scared. And believe it or not, her mother woke up and started screaming the life out of herself. After her mother calmed down, Elizabeth and her father started asking her what happened very urgently. Her mother said something about Okiku, and she was so scared she could barely speak. Like, poor mom, who would do such a thing to her? But you'd be very surprised to find that it was actually Okiku. The girl was so scared that she had to sleep with her parents that night. And her parents actually already knew that Okiku was haunted. Tried to tell Elizabeth, but failed one time after another. Which is why this problem came. Okay, the problem was caused at Okiku's is. You know what, people? English is failing me today. Okay, then I think it was Elizabeth's father, one after another timely, that's a word, definitely. You'll find it in the Miffy dictionary. Attempted to throw Okiku away, but failed. Because whenever he would throw it away, Okiku would always appear in front of him. Again, he was freaked out, but couldn't do anything because he loved his daughter and didn't want to make her sad. I know what you're thinking, like, this dad is probably dumb or something, but I agree with you guys, he was dumb. Anyways, after that, it came the night where Elizabeth slept with her parents, and in the middle of the night, she saw a shadow creep, like, from the window. You know, when you're on the bed, you can see, like, your window if you have one, and then like a shadow goes by, you can feel it. So then Elizabeth felt it and immediately felt very awake and scared. She woke up her parents, and that was not a wrong decision at all. Her dad rubbed his eyes and held a knife by the bedside table and was ready to attack whatever was coming for them. But in a few milliseconds or something like that, they heard loud bangs on their bedroom door. The mother screamed and quickly ran to slam her body against the door and lock it. Elizabeth suddenly started crying and couldn't stop. She heard this voice right next to her ear. "Why don't you kill me? We would have been very good friends. Just open the door." And followed by creepy giggles. I cannot describe how creepy it is because I just suck at giggles. Anyways, the door lock clicked by itself and the door opened, revealing a life-size Okiku. but with long devilish hair, still silky and black all the same, but just another sort of feeling when you see it, as you see beautiful models, black silky hair. You couldn't see her eyes because her bangs or fringe was covering her whole face. And the hair became strings and flew up to attack Elizabeth's mom. At that moment, she choked. Before dying, said, "I love you, Elizabeth, stay safe," and died sadly. Her father was furious and remembered like a little myth he saw on the internet. It was called the hair growing doll. And their fear was scissors. Because they loved their precious hair so much, if you cut one strand of it, they would become lifeless. So that's what Elizabeth's father did. He took the knife. I mean, that is even better than a scissor, but yeah. He took the knife and stabbed it inside Okiku's hair, if that makes sense. Like, technically cut it. Okiku gave a ear-splitting scream and vanished into thin ashes. The next day, the whole family was mysteriously found dead, and the doll was standing right on top of Elizabeth's face. This may seem weird, but the first person to discover them was the monk that warned them not to take Okiku, because he has secretly been watching the family and, like all those stuff. And so he knew exactly why they died and when. The other people wouldn't have believed him if he said a doll killed him. Like, how ridiculous is that? Like, imagine your best friend was killed and then somebody just told you, "Hey, her childhood doll killed her." You would think that person was stupid or something. And that's what the other people felt when the monk told them that a doll killed him as well. But he himself knew perfectly well that it was a doll. Nothing else could have killed him like this. He sadly brought the doll back to the temple and cut all of its hair off. The next day, to his not surprise, the doll's hair was all back, longer than usual. That's the end of the first story. And before we start the second story, which is probably going to take a millennia, because I am not so good at telling horror stories, or maybe I am, I don't know. Please join my Roblox group. It's called Mafia. And if you search Mafia, it's the first one. It isn't the one with a rainbow person with a rainbow background. You got that? The second story is gonna be about, I don't know what. I still have to think a bit. But if you guys want to hear me sing, subscribe and like, because I'm gonna do it if my video reaches 10 likes in my next video, which is next week. Okay, after 5 days, I finally figured out another horror story to tell you guys. It's also about a Japanese legend, because that's what I always search when I want to listen to horror stories. And I'm pretty sure 90% of you watching know it. It's the 8-foot-tall lady. And to be honest, it really creeped me out by how it looked, because I was searching it on Google for you guys. But anyways, this is gonna be a story that I wrote technically about the 8-foot-tall lady. So I'm gonna be telling it to you guys in my view. You know what I mean? I am the main character in the story. I say I, and I mean I. Yeah, that completely makes sense. The smoothie I made is so delicious. Continuing with the video. Hehe. So, my parents went to a college reunion one night. And I was alone in the house, and I love horror stuff. So, I was watching Annabelle when all of a sudden the security alarm started to beep, beep. And it was getting really annoying, so I closed on my phone and checked all the security cameras, since I don't know why I had this stupid feeling that I was being watched. And what I saw on my phone made me pissed, because there was a woman standing outside our garden wall, believe it or not. And who would visit me at this time of the hour? I just shouted at her from my couch and said for her to get away from my house before I come out and punch her. She didn't move, but started giving me this giggle. I was getting a bit creeped out, but was more pissed off than ever. So I just decided to ignore it, seem calm, and continue watching my movie. After a few minutes, I completely forgot about it, as if it was like just some old stuff like my granny used to tell me or something like that. And the next time I saw the camera, she was long gone. And the next time I even checked the security system, it was already 2 weeks later. My parents came back and everything was back to normal. But I was so excited because tomorrow we're having a sleepover. I'm having a sleepover with my childhood best friend. It was honestly a really weird sleepover because we had to go hiking first and we were camping on the mountain, which I'm not sure we were allowed to, but my parents decided to do it anyways. So that's what we did, and nothing went wrong before midnight. The feeling came again as if I was being watched, but I looked around, there was nothing. After a few hours, I gave up and just went to TikTok and started swiping. That was when I heard a noise all of a sudden. It seemed far away, but also in this very area, 10 meters away from me. My heart suddenly started beating so fast. I thought it was going to jump out of my throat and die or something. But that's when I heard my mom talking to me. Lovey, can you get out? I really need some water. And I can't move. I don't know why. I think I got a leg cramp. Can you please come out to get some water? I thought for a few seconds. But that's when I saw there was a bit of a weird place in her voice. Why would she be awake in the middle of the night? She usually sleeps as soundly as a pig. And she would never get leg cramps while sleeping. Her legs are always straight and she barely got leg cramps in her life. And then there was also a weird part. If she got a leg cramp, why was she only talking to me? Why didn't she say that to my dad? She wouldn't want me to wake up. She always seemed concerned about my shortness and never wanted to wake me up at night. Which is why this is so weird all of a sudden. And then I started to feel uneasy as I said, Mom? No reply. Mom? Mom? Finally, after 3 loud calls, my mom woke up. She was pissed off because whenever she wakes up from a nice sleep, she's always pissed off. And said, what the heck do you want from my life? I'm trying to sleep here, can't you see? It's in the middle of the night, what do you want? I was a bit shocked at first, but then I asked her, what do you mean, what do I want? You asked me to get you water because you have a leg cramp. A few seconds silence, and then she said, what do you mean? I never get leg cramps, you know that. Now go back to sleep and stop playing around, you'll wake the others up. And following that, there was a whoosh of wind, and I felt chills go down my back. Right now, I could already imagine my mom's face as she hated the cold. She would probably be spatting at the wind, which doesn't make sense, but she would have done that. But then, after another wind, I said, Mom, I'm not playing around. You actually woke me up and said that I should get you a cup of water. Are you okay? Were you sleep talking or was it... My mom stopped me. She's like, no, that wasn't me, honey. But I think it's about time I tell you the truth. You know, your granny never lived because neighbors always said there was an 8-foot tall lady in her garden. But why would she believe those nonsense? Or at least she thought it was nonsense. One night the neighbors heard her scream And before long, she was dead. The neighbor saw a huge figure, huge, skinny, pale, glow-in-the-dark figure that was standing in the garden. And it was too late to call the police. Your granny was found hung in her own garden. Her face was a shade of blue, and it was so weird how she died. She would have never suicided, trust me. And I was like, okay, what's this got to do with you waking me up for a cup of water? And then she sighed and said, why you always gotta be so dumb? Don't you get it? It's the 8-foot-tall lady. She's coming for you. She came for me as well when I was in my teenage years, just like you are now. But I escaped thanks to your father. Now the only way that you could stop her from getting you is to get married and never, ever speak about her ever again. Pretend it never happened. We don't speak of her. We don't think of her. That's the only way that you will be safe. The next day, I found myself alone in the garden. In my grandmother's garden, to be specific. I saw her twisted blue face. I was creeped out. Okay, you know what? That's the end of the story. I was too bored to think of another one. And this is sure gonna be a long video. So, thanks for watching, y'all. Bye now. And good day, good afternoon, or good night. Because I do not know where you live. Bye.